And he nodded sagely, raising his pint to me. "Free beer," yelled the drunks, and their laughter followed me out the door. I rounded the corner, and the trail, evaporating visibly and causing the scene to blur in the summer heat, led all the way to a familiar bum, though nameless, one so beaten by life he wasn't allowed the squire at all. Layered in multiple dirty coats despite the temperature, matted, oily hair glued to his face, talking to himself and fumbling with something small in his hands. At his feet was a bright red plastic gas can, its yellow pour spout pointing at him accusingly. As I walked up to him, he smiled at me broadly, his eyes misty with whatever drugs or alcohol he had managed to find that day, 3 to 5 black and yellow teeth standing tall despite his hunched stature. He was fumbling with a wet and grimy book of a few sad matches, too damp from his sweaty palms to light. "Hey, brother." He was excited to see me. "Can I get a light?" I laughed, despite my initial shock and anger. He was not here on the same earth that I was. "For what?" I asked, still laughing. Apparently my laughter was infectious, and he began to laugh and did a small hopping dance and bleated, "My cigarette!" I asked what cigarette, and he started to pat his pockets and then frowned. "Can I get a cigarette too?" All right, fun's over, and I opened the door to the pizza shop next door and yelled, "Call the cops, now!" which excited my shuffle bum attempted arsonist friend, and he began to scoot off. As I got in front of him, arms wide to block his slow escape, one of the pizza guys came out to ask why, saw the gas can and saw the line of gas, and yelled inside that calling the cops needed to happen, now, before coming to help me corral the now scared and pleading man. "I didn't do nothing. I didn't do it. That stuff ain't mine." And his commotion brought more homeless from across the street in his defense. There was a scuffle, and the pizza guy, myself, our quarry, and 3 drunks ended up in a squirming, filthy pile against the building, arms and legs groping for purchase but never committed to violence. "This guy's going to jail tonight, and you guys can leave now or go with him," I yelled loudly enough for all the bar regulars except George to come spilling out of the bar and stare. George was gamely guarding the bar. He'd drink for free today. The helpless homeless guys had other plans for their evening and scampered off, our arsonist yelling after them to come back and help, but their friendship did not include being booked away from their daily delights, and he began to cry. At that moment, I began to feel sorry for him. A small, drug-addled man, chewed up and spit onto Colfax by an uncaring life, looking more like a dirty and confused toddler than malevolent criminal, and crouched there on the street with my hands on his shoulders, he smiled again. A small, mischievous smile. And then he began to laugh, almost hysterically, growing with each wheezy breath. The pizza dude and I exchanged confused looks, but then the smell hit. Worse than anything I'd stirred up cleaning the mucky bar floor, worse than a burn of bleach, worse than the gasoline, a powerful odor hit us both, and we stood and backed away quickly, nearly into the street as cars raced by. Like a trapped snake in a final desperate move, he had emptied his bowels, and the watery mixture flowing out his shorts was vile in ways only a street diet of alcohol and occasionally remembered meals of garbage can be. All of Colfax distilled into elixir that leaked towards my feet. As I stood amidst the flashing red and blues of ambulance, cop cars, and fire truck, a light show we lovingly call the Squire Disco, an officer approached me. He looked at my cigarette. I hope you washed your hands." I laughed. "Officer, with the things I've touched today, washing my hands isn't going to do the trick." And I went back inside to finish my cleaning and my shift, while the regulars told and retold the story of the arsonist bum, each of them heroes of their version, the story growing by the minute as each new regular arrived. "What's with all the cops? And why the fuck is he cleaning the bar?" And it all started over again.
Just wow. Thanks so much for that story, Cam. I can't believe the shit you went through. Blech. And this is why you always tip your bartender. Well, it's last call, so let me give you a tip. Before you ask, yes, we have a bathroom, and while you're probably not an architect, it's located where you think it is. Seriously, how are you even alive, and how have you not died from a bathtub toaster accident yet? Better to remain silent and be thoughtful than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. Folks, it's been a blast. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And a call to my fellow booze slingers. Send in your stories to cocktailsandwastednights@gmail.com. You can remain anonymous if you'd like. Thanks for listening, subscribing, downloading, and spreading the word. Don't be afraid to give me a good review, even if you're lying. We'll see you next week on Behind Bars, Cocktails, and Wasted Nights. Cheers.